one building can only affect machines in their building, and a technician from another building can only do their building, and the two cannot meet. You can restrict what your admins can do as far as what they can do in LANrev itself. And as I said before, the admin is compatible with Citrix, like I said, I can log in from the Citrix MetaFrame web interface and be able to run the Windows version of LANrev admin and be able to remote control a machine using VNC. So that's very nice. And that's it for me. That's pretty much in a nutshell.
All right. Thank you, Michael. I want to remind viewers that they can download immediately the PDF version of these slides off the macenterprise.org website if they want to review those quickly. Also, there will be an archive of this webcast made available approximately 2 weeks after today. And before we head into the questions, Michael and Bao, what we'll do is I'll read them back, and either one of you or both can answer the question. Just sort of, particularly you, Michael, just say this is Michael or something so we know that you want to take this question, and we'll let you answer it. The first question actually is a comment about computer tracking you mentioned, Michael. And they were saying that you can actually set up a secondary LANrev inventory server outside the firewall to avoid exposing your primary server. So just a bit of additional detail around that functionality. Right. Can either of you provide more detail about Microsoft SCCM integration?
Yes, this is Bao. I can speak to that. So what that integration module actually does is it's actually an export module. So what it will let you do is take all of the LANrev data for just your Mac clients and allow you to export that into either SMS 2.0, SMS 2003, or SCCM 2007. So you can view Mac computer entries in SCCM 2007. Now, you're not going to be able to do anything else to them, but at least you can see the Mac inventory data in there. So what we will do is create a bunch of special categories, because there's certain things in LANrev that do not fit sort of the preset categories that Microsoft has in SCCM. So you'll see LANrev, hardware and stuff like that, so that we can maximize the amount of data that we export to SCCM 2007.
All right, great. Thank you, Bao. A series of questions about the relationship between the LANrev agent and LANrev server. So let me go through those, and you guys can answer those back. Do the agent and server perform any sort of mutual identification and authentication? What protocols are used between the agent and server for communication, and are those encrypted? And I think they're kind of getting to, is there any possibility that a non-managed system could impersonate a managed system to the LANrev server?
So I'll take care of that one. This is Bao from LANrev. So all traffic, let's talk a little bit about encryption security. So all traffic within LANrev between the agent and the server and the admin console are fully compressed and encrypted. So unless someone can figure out the cipher that we're actually using and the compression protocol that we're using, they'd have to sort of deconstruct all that data before they could actually do anything to it. Also, there are provisions within the product so that once an agent has actually reported into a server, it will only report into another server registered to the same exact serial number and activation key. So that agent is basically bonded to that server with that serial number and activation key from then on. So if someone goes out, downloads an evaluation version of the LANrev server, that agent will refuse to report into that server. It's the LANrev agents will also remember what server they were talking to. So if another server, it's practically impossible for another server to actually send a command to an agent, because they can't send a command to that agent unless they can actually see that agent, right? And well, that agent will refuse to report into a server. If somehow you were able to actually spoof a server, the LANrev agent would most likely reject those commands because it doesn't remember talking to that server previously.
Okay, great. Does LANrev work with File Vault and or any of the whole disk encryption packages vendors are potentially bringing to Mac OS X or bringing to Mac OS X?
This is Bao from LANrev again. I am not sure about that one. I would have to check with LANrev engineering to find out how the LANrev agent actually interacts with File Vault.
Okay. And is LANrev server certified to run under Windows in any virtualized environment such as VMware?
Yes, absolutely. So when we test LANrev, we actually test the LANrev agent. All of the LANrev components get tested in Parallels and VMware Fusion also.
All right, great. Say, does LANrev depend upon a local administrative account? And if so, does it assist with password policy management rotation on that account? Can the account have a different password on each agent?
So this is Bao again from LANrev. So LANrev doesn't actually do any sort of account policy management. We leave that to, if you're on the Mac side, we leave that to Workgroup Manager, WGM. On the PC side, we leave that to Active Directory Group Policy Objects. So we don't manage password policies in any way within LANrev.
Okay. Just for clarification, is LANrev able to deal with multiple subnets within a LAN when scanning for computers, both Macs and PCs on a network?
Yes. So there's multiple ways of actually doing that. So LANrev can scan any number of subnets that you want with a custom zone definition. With a custom zone definition, you can specify one or more IP address ranges. Also, the other discovery protocols that we'll support are Active Directory. If your agent machines are bound to Active Directory, that works for both Macs and PCs. On the PC side, if your machines, we'll also support the network neighborhood also, which is Windows networking basically. So you can scan for a machine using the Windows networking, and you're basically walking through the Windows browse list from the master browser to discover agent machines.
Okay, I think a couple of these questions look like folks have joined a bit late, so maybe just for clarification, can LANrev create packages or equivalent for Windows installs? That's one.
Currently, there is no installees version for the PC side. It hasn't been much of an issue for most of our PC customers because on the PC side, most packages will have some sort of option switch like /s or -s to deploy packages silently. Doesn't quite give you as many sort of customization options. Within the next calendar year or so, LANrev will come out with a PC version of installees at some point. So it's definitely on the roadmap. We're trying to, the LANrev engineering staff has done research into how to create an MSI package that's compatible with all of the Microsoft standards. So it's a matter of just sitting down, writing the code, and actually getting the package to comply with the Microsoft standard.
Okay, and we talked earlier about LANrev and Active Directory, assuming integration with Mac OS X Open Directory. Any comments or specifics there?
We have looked into Open Directory. Unfortunately, we had more customers request Active Directory integration because a lot of them were cross-platform. It's definitely on our roadmap. As to an estimate as to when that might actually get implemented, I can't really give you a timeline since I don't really know myself, but it's definitely something that we've looked at.
Okay, great. And our last question comes all the way from Norway. Can you automatically observe OUs in Active Directory for automatically pushing out the client to machines who haven't got the client installed already?
Yes, so within the Agent Deployment Center itself, you can browse your Active Directory sites and OUs to discover client machines. So once you actually go into a specific OU, you can select all the machines in that OU and right-click and pick Install Agent and then specify the appropriate credentials for pushing to just those client machines, the LANrev client software.
All right, great. I want to thank all our viewers for joining us for this month's MacEnterprise.org webcast. Please visit MacEnterprise.org in the near future for details about next month's webcast. And as I mentioned earlier, there will be a webcast archive of today's webcast available in about 2 weeks. I want to thank Bao Tran, Senior Systems Engineer from LANrev, and Michael Perbix, Network Technician for Lower Merion School District. Thanks, and we'll see you next month.